Hello, ladies and gents. Apologies for the delay, but some of the players were just taking a bit of a break. Can't really blame them. This is a best of 5, so maybe Karont3 were just going back to the drawing board and trying to chill themselves out. They find themselves 2-0 right now, and if they lose one more game, they will be knocked out, with mousesports progressing through to the semi-final stage. I'm joined by Spuddington, and as you can see, we already right through the banned stage. Karma, Renekton, Yasuo, Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, and finally LeBlanc have been banned out of this game.
So, Lee Sin and Kha'Zix, both of these champions, very, very strong in the hands of the jungler of Mouse, whose name I'm struggling to remember how to pronounce. Kondzizan. Right?
It's a weird one, that one. For an English speaker, it is.
DZ is like...
It's probably like a Polish name, and we're just brutalizing it horribly.
Yeah, they may, like, it may be romanized as DZ, but maybe it's like a completely different sound. I don't know. Regardless, doesn't matter. He's Kondzizan to me, and forevermore shall be. Karont3 banning out his champions, and they're banning out the LeBlanc again. So they're banning out the strategy from game 1. But Mao's last game were very happy to just play the long game. They played it very, very well. They were very, very strong throughout it, and they were able to keep control, keep just a little bit one step ahead for most of the game, and then they hit their major power spikes and really brought it home. So Karont3 are going to have to change something up again if they want to hope to win this.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the chat has too much faith in that, because we asked in the poll, are Karont3 going to make it to game 4, or are mousesports going to win this best of 5? 90%, 90 said that Mouse will win it all in this game. And I can't really blame that, to be honest, judging by how the first 2 games did go.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised either. I will say, going by the LCS, polls of 90% or above are usually wrong. So, it's a 100% chance that a 90% chance is not correct. But I'm not going to say that that's actually the case in this one. Mouse have just looked so controlled and so strong in all of the games so far. Hard to compete with that.
It certainly is. It's a difficult statistic to disagree with, I would say. The picks are coming in now, so Morgana is going to once again be the support of choice for Libic. And this time they're not going to be going for the Kog'Maw. Instead, they are going to be running with Lucian at the bot lane. Jax has also been picked up for Kondzizan. Could be played at top lane. Kubon is known for his Jax play. Alternatively, it's not unheard of to hear Jax from the jungle as well.
Yeah, okay, so picking up the Jax. Well, Jax versus Aurelia matchup in the top lane. We've seen that a number of times in, Season 2. Obviously, it's still decently strong. Both of these champions scale very, very hard. Neither can ever really get so far ahead that they can ignore the other one's damage and split push horrendously. But we'll see if Karont3 and Mouse can get that little edge that they can then use to make plays. Because certainly Mouse have shown they have a penchant for teleporting down their top laner and making ganks happen with that. Aurelia is actually probably a little bit better suited to that playstyle, so if Karont3 can be the ones to find their own style, where they get their own teleports down and they're the ones initiating those ganks, that could work in their favor. But the problem if they pick out this Ezreal here for Gyms is that that's not going to be nearly as strong of a gank setup lane.
Yeah, and they've gone back to the drawing board again here. What I will say is that Karont3 have definitely came out with 3 fairly different objectives in mind, 3 different compositions, because this time, again, I'm expecting to see the Lulu ran in mid from Neptuno, and they're going to go Ezreal, so that's the 3rd different AD carry that Gyms has gone for. Kennen, Vayne, and now Ezreal. And the last pick is likely going to be the support, so they're going to be picking that one against Lucian and Morgana if they don't go for lane switch up, of course. And there's a few characters they could conceivably go for. There's still Leona available, still Thresh available, and with the Ezreal, it really just comes down to how much CC they want, because honestly, they don't have a great deal right now. Just the Cocoon, pretty much, and the Glitterlands.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of a trap right now. I definitely think Leona would be a very, very good pick here. It's just a generally very, very strong character in the lane, in the later game, initiates for your team, which is a currently a slightly dodgy aspect of the way Karont3 will play, and also very, very solid in picking compositions, which Karont3 have sort of got themselves. They've certainly got the mobility, and they've certainly got the ability to burst people down. They're a little bit lacking, as you say, in their crowd control, but I mean, Leona would probably be my pick in the situation anyway.
Wait, what is got Jarvan support? I assume that's going to be a placeholder.
Maybe, but it might be a Jarvan mid and a Lulu support.
Right, well, we've got 45 seconds to find out what is going to happen here, because Rydell has taken the Jarvan, and Lulu is a mid lane champion now, alongside, of course, support, so it could be either or. Okay, there we go. They have just switched over, which now makes a whole lot more sense to me, Spud. I was so very confuzzled there. It will be Jarvan mid.
Okay, that makes a certain degree of sense, but it's still not something I would exactly expect in the current meta. But Jarvan, since the hitbox on his EQ was nerfed, is less reliable than he used to be. And Jarvan mid or top lane was considered kind of a cheesy pick even back when that was a larger hitbox and more reliable to hit, because he has absolutely tons and tons of damage, but he needs to snowball it. He needs to snowball it early so that he can then itemize for some defense as well, or later on he will just get blown up almost before he can put down any serious damage. So interesting to see they've gone for that pick, but it's the kind of radical change that may well be exactly what they need.
Exactly. Coming out of left field may very well just dethrone mousesports, who have been well and truly on top. We've got 2.5 minutes remaining on delay. Of course, we're on the EU Live client, so we're going to cut to a very quick commercial break, play a few ads. If you could watch them, it would definitely help us here. And when you rejoin us, we'll be live for game number 3 that Karont3 simply have to win in this best of 5. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
yes, I'm grooving. Yes, I'm grooving.
And we are live back on the Rift, ladies and gents, in this third and very important game between mousesports and Karont3. I'm Edis, joined by Spuddington, and I am very interested to see how this Jarvan the Fourth is going to impact this third game. Maybe this is the ace up the sleeve that K3 desperately need to make work.
Yeah, Mao's going for an early invade, though.
Oh, Rydell's taking a lot of poke dart binding javelin afterwards. And they said Jarvan afterwards. That would have been weird. Another javelin lands, but a good shield from the help picks will keep Rydell alive.
Taking so many Jarvans.
Yeah, I'd love to actually see a Jarvan just being thrown across the map. It'd be pretty cool.
Mod it.
And it would work as well because he has a spear. So if he gets thrown spear first.
Like a mini Jarvan, like the animation for when he's flag and dragging, but it just replaces the spear. That'd be pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could probably do it. Like you couldn't make anyone else see what you would see it as that, but you could probably mod your own client to show a Jarvan doing that instead of a spear.
Yeah, or you could have like for a Halloween skin. You know how they have like reverse Annie. You could have some kind of thing in that way where instead of Nidalee throwing spears, she just throws Jarvans. I would actually buy that skin.
Jarvan javelins.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit specific though. like how many other people are going to be like, yeah, I'd buy that. You know what I want
Probably
for Halloween
no one else.
Is a Jarvan skin. Like no, a Nidalee skin which fires Jarvan.
Well, I think I probably would be in the minority there. Could get definitely not Blitzcrank now. I think I'll go for the Nidalee Jarvan skin instead.
That's the only change. It's just the base skin, but it also has Jarvans.
Certainly, and well, speaking of which, he's actually pushing Take Fun back pretty hard at the moment, as you'd expect. Though he does have the Dragon Strike first, so he's going to be spamming them ones out. He's going to be quite difficult to gank as well because it is a Shyvana jungle. It doesn't offer a great deal of CC to mid lane because Nidalee has none as well. So Jarvan should by and large be okay in mid lane.
Yeah, he's also going to have some ability to set up ganks, assuming he doesn't end up pushing back Nidalee too hard. But right now, he's actually the one being pushed back. So he's hit level 2. If Elise comes in, there's a huge potential for kills on Nidalee.
Yeah, Nidalee is very vulnerable and susceptible to ganks pre-level 6 before they have the Cougar form, so they could be trying to make some plays. You can see Econata is coming towards the mid lane right now, so maybe going to be going around the backside here. Indeed, that looks to be the case. Here we go. Has the red buff. Can he land the cocoon? No, but the flag and drag has landed, and that will force the flash. So they can come back for take 2 and potentially lock that kill down in the next couple of moments.
Yeah, the other thing you have to bear in mind is that Take Fun is going to have to respect the damage out of Jarvan.
What? What's that?
I didn't see. What happened?
Lucky for you, because I feel like my brain just melted. Kubon... Right, so Kondazan came to top lane for a gank. Before he was even in range, Kubon went ahead and tower dove Jerome, got killed before Shyvana could get there, and just gave away first blood. for like no reason at all. I don't even know what to think about that.
Worth it. He's teleported back to the lane, so he's getting more experience.
Yeah, that was just really weird. I don't know if they've got overconfident because they're 2-0 up or what, but we've seen teams with over hubris getting punished for that one, time and time again.
It really does hurt you if you fall behind in that kind of a matchup as well, because Jax versus Aurelia is a matchup between roughly equals, but Karont3 is in the mid lane again. Can he land the stun?
Yeah, this is what I was expecting to see, because you got the flag and drag and the stun as well. Just a matter of time before they get this kill, and it's going to be Eco taking the kill. And honestly, I feel like Neptuno probably wanted that one, and it was definitely his if he wanted it.
Yeah, usually though, I mean, usually you see the junglers donating. I mean, certainly actually, Kondizan has been very, very good about donating his kills. Even though he's been snowballing in quite a lot of these games, he's actually very deliberately allowed some of them to go the other way quite often. But maybe Karont3 feels like he needs to carry this. But I say more than Elise even nowadays, Jarvan in the mid lane is going to want to snowball against his lane opponent, but he's going to be a very strong roamer.
Yep, certainly will be. And so TakeFun rejoins the lane. Definitely finds himself behind in terms of experience and gold and all the other good stuff. But still early days. Still very early days. We've seen in the past that Karont3 have accumulated a bit of a gold lead and they've not done a great deal with it. And you can see this camp actually. They're waiting for TakeFun to push the lane and come back in for seconds. They know that his flash is still on cooldown, and here they go. Well, he's missed the cocoon, so yeah, that's pretty much the end of that one. But look at the burst of Neptuno, holy crap.
Yeah, he hits like a train. That is what is so scary about Jarvan, especially in the early game, because remember, his ultimate, when he gets that, is going to give him another like 200 or so damage in his combo. So really, really scary damage, but Eco, like they waited a long time for that gank, and Eco just straight up whiffed his stun. Oh,
landing again in this camp in mid is unbelievable.
Damage.
And they get the kill as well.
Oh my god!
Cataclysm, not too sure about that one. They do get a bit of damage on Kondizan, but they're not going to get the kill. But again, TakeFun has been consistently ganked, and this is exactly what you need to do against an Italy. This is the moment where she is very, very weak. Yeah,
and if she's behind in, say 10 minutes time, she's not going to be able to poke, she's not going to be able to control objectives. It means her team gets pushed back, it means she's even less effective because then there's minions in the way. So if they could take this mid tower, that could be really good, but I think maybe Neptune there did just misjudge his own mana pool.
Oh, Eco going back in again, is finding himself in a precarious position, but the tower has gone down, so he's going to be alright. Javelin was also fired in, but did not connect. Bot lane is going quite well for Mouse though, just 4 CS behind. But to be fair, one of the reasons why it's probably gone so well is because the jungler's just been camped in mid, so they've got absolutely nothing to worry about.
Yeah, the only thing about this camp which is working in Karont3's favour is that Kondizan has spent the whole time farming. He's building towards his Wriggled Lantern, he's building towards the Feral Flare. He'll be a very, very big late game threat in a way that top lane Shyvana is what we normally expect. But in that time, that bottom lane from Karont3 is doing a very good job. Ezreal normally falls a bit behind in his lane and is actually doing very, very well right now to be even equal. And that means that there's going to be a very strong mid-game period here from Karont3. They've got Irelia, who's just starting to hit her major power spikes, level 6. Next one probably at level 9 when she's got Blade of the Ruined King, or started to get the components of the Triforce. And they're going to have good roam. They're going to have very good skirmish fights from Ezreal and from this fair Jarvan. That's a really, really scary proposition.
It certainly is, and I just wonder how that first blood, just giving it away free on a silver platter, is going to bite Kubon in the backside. Because that, I mean, he's still ahead of Irelia in lane. It just makes me think that had they not given away the first blood for free, how much further ahead he could be as well.
Yeah, that's true. And Irelia versus Jax is usually a matchup which Jax wins mildly, doesn't get too big of an advantage, and Irelia has like a brief window when she's picked up like a mana item where she can actually out-sustain his mana pool. Certainly that's how it used to work in Season 2, but with the addition of the Flask that Jax has, that matchup that brief power window may never really occur. And oh, the screw up on the donation.
Oh, that's
bad.
And I feel that was also avoidable because the Javelin landed about a second before the last auto attack. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was all about. And you really want your Nidalee with blue buff.
I think it was because it was going to get stolen by red buff. So Karont3 said, well, I might as well speed the process up, and then auto-attacked it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that definitely could be the case, actually. But still, that is that's pretty significant, honestly, in mid lane, because Take Fun wants that blue buff. He wants to be able to spam. He wants to be able to get some stacks on that tier of the goddess, and not having blue buff is going to hurt him.
Yeah, indeed, and he's already a long way behind. This isn't something he needed to deal with at this point. Jarvan at the moment was looking for an opportunity to roam, couldn't find it. And Karont3 is actually clearing out that ward there, and that's why the culling just got used in the bot lane. They want to clear out the wave so that they can roam up to deal with this dragon push, but it's going to go down too quickly. The dragon at least should go Karont3's way, but they're not going to do it.
And Karont3 came in, so they forced them back. They're not going to be starting it themselves. Top lane again, more action is going on. And Jerome is starting to get his foot in the door a tiny bit more in these exchanges. He's going 50-50 right now. So, across the board, interesting passage of play there. Dragon stays up, no kills go down, and still K3 have 1,500 gold lead.
Yeah, they've got these advantages, but I really think they should have stayed in there. The Nidalee Spears are not hitting that hard. They could have taken that dragon. It may have been a risky play, may have worked against them, but they need to snowball the advantage.
Oh, Ignite Cataclysm on top of Take Fun, but he will be able to escape now that he's got the Cougar form to pounce away with. So he is going to be more difficult to kill now, so that early vulnerability isn't really there as much as it was before. Bot lane, I'm keeping an eye on bot lane. Ezreal is starting to escalate ahead of Lucian in terms of farm, and they've started this dragon again. It's going down extremely quickly, but here comes Take Fun, here comes Gonazan as well. He has Dragon's Descent, so he's going to be able to jump over this wall and try and steal it away. He doesn't get it though, and now he's in a very sticky situation. He has Flash up. He's not going to have to use it though. Or is he?
Gotta escape the Lulu damage.
Yeah.
So, interesting fight there, but you can't really outsmite Nidalee's jungle, and the fact that Take Fun got pushed back on such low health was why they went for the dragon that time. He was able to heal up a bit, but not enough to make them confident fighting that dragon. The Karont3 did just get chased out of the jungle by Take Fun, but they're not confident enough to dive that. They can't dive.
Oh, Take Fun manages to escape for now. That's the true shot barrage. Here comes Jarvan as well, and he will still get that kill. I was about to say a beautiful Dark Binding lands by Libic, but it just didn't matter because Flash Dragon Strike more than enough.
Yeah, very, very nicely done there. They are definitely snowballing this advantage right now. Top lane is still a zero-sum game at the moment because no one is really taking any advantages, but as long as Karont3 can keep the other lane snowballing, Irelia will be able to match up decently well.
Yep, flashing up red there is Shyvana, but that was off the White Wraith, and we'll be able to take that one down. However, you did mention before, and I agree with you, that as the game progresses, Shyvana's going to get stronger, Nidalee's poke will get stronger, Lucian will get stronger as well. Jims has been caught by Dark Binding, Soul Shackles comes in as well. Will Rydell fall prey to this one? He's taking a lot of damage, and there's the Wild Growth to keep himself alive. The point I was going to say though is that going forward in this game, mousesports I feel are pretty strong actually, and on top of that, Ezreal does not scale as well as Lucian does. Ezreal hits a point in the game where I wouldn't say he's useless, but he's not going to have the same amount of consistent damage as Macla's Lucian will.
And the other thing to consider is that Karont3 are running a full AD team.
Yeah. Oh, Eco is coming in here, Black Shield, and the heal are potentially going to get them away. There's the True Shot Barrage though, turning it back around because they know that Gonazan is on his way, and that Mystic Shot actually narrowly escaping from Libic, very nearly went down. But Jerome and Neptuno actually, this is very opportunistic. They're just going to push through mid.
And why not? They've got two men there. Italy's very weak and she's not very good at holding off two bruisers anyway. They can dive her if she gets in range. Jax is taking the opportunity to go for that top tower, but they know he doesn't have teleport. So if they can get this inner tower, that's totally worth it.
Red team's turret.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to do just that as well. third of its health remaining, but they've got a creep wave here. It's only Nidalee that's able to keep them away, and that is going to be a tower. And they're also forcing this bottom tower as well, so this is really a role reversal. The tables have turned. It was mousesports that were doing this in the previous 2 games, and I'm happy that Karont3 have finally realised, okay, we need to play aggressive. We can't always be told how to play. We need to actually step up to the plate and deliver. John 4th on his way to bot lane.
Has been spotted out, so not going to be able to do too much, but bear in mind, Mobility Boots Jarvan doesn't mind if he makes some small nap movements that then don't really result in anything. There's a bit of a fight over red buff right now. I think Jax is still going to be stronger in a straight one-on-one, but he doesn't want to tank the red buff while fighting.
Oh, that was very nice play by Libic, actually. Landed Dark Binding and then Soul Shackles on Elise, and it was a free kill at the end there for Makler. So he's got a Bloodthirster. He is going to be a difficulty for the side of Karont3 to deal with. Then again, you've got a Triforce on Ezreal, so he's going to be dishing out a fair amount of punishment as well.
Yeah, so he's pretty strong when he's got his Triforce. And as always with Ezreal, he's better in an all-in, weirdly, than he is in poking in lane. Because of the fact that there's no way to dodge an Ezreal who jumps straight on your face, because there's no minions to get in the way, unless of course in the rare event where a minion decides to, be a no Mr. President, sort of a dive type of minion, which is a much more annoying type of minion, but certainly Ezreal is very, very scary when he can land every single one of his moves.
At top lane as well, Phage has been finished by Irelia. He's going back to spawn Zeal more than likely next. Or is it? Nope, it's going to be Sheen next. So going towards that Triforce as you'd expect. Jax, in the meanwhile, has nearly 2,000 gold accumulated. So with that Bilgewater Cutlass, maybe he's going to finish off the Blade of the Ruined King. Not entirely sure. Only time is going to tell. But we have reached that lull in the action here. And I think that's one of the main differences between these 2 teams. That mousesports at this stage, typically going for more objectives. Typically trying to push the envelope. Whereas Karont3 are a bit more, I wouldn't say passive, but they're a bit more safe.
Yeah, and right now, Neptuno has just hit level 11. This is his time to be making more plays. That's a big damage spike for him. He's got his pickaxe, he's got his brutalizer, he's got a giant's belt, and yet, Konzizan is the one going for it.
Oh, and if Jims dies here, I'm gonna say Jims dying there was completely needless. And again, it just allows mousesports to pull themselves slightly back into this game. There's not a huge amount of goal difference anymore, just over 1,000 at 16.5 minutes, and this could be the bottom tower falling. And this is the problem with K3 that we've seen in the previous 2 games. They have a tendency of getting caught and just giving away free kills for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, group up and force objectives, don't stand alone and be caught out. That is almost like the most basic part of League of Legends these days. Take fun though.
Yeah, he's going to get caught and he's going to go down. As you say, level 11 is a dunk and a half from Neptuno. They did pick up the tower though. So again, kill for tower, not too bad. Dragon's up in 3 seconds. Ezreal will be down here and close enough to stop Dragon from going down. So it should be kept alive. I'm curious, are K3 going to go for this one?
Well, they can, certainly. If they force their opponents to come to them, it distracts them from the mid lane Jarvan. He's pushing that tower, and he's got AD. He can take that if he's given enough time.
Yeah, it's going to force a teleport from Jax. Meanwhile, around Dragon, who's going to take this one down. It will be Eco once again. So, second consecutive Dragon. Konda Konda-san's going to try and chase after the Jims right now, but Jims is okay, and in doing so, actually, they've left themselves a tiny bit vulnerable. Libic is very low. Ooh. He flashes, play the sacrificial lamb. Or is he? Because Jerome actually teleported to bot lane. So this is going horribly, horribly wrong for mousesports. They do keep their mid tower alive, and in fact, they're going to be re-engaging on this one. Coupon flashing back in again. How much damage can Macklin do? The answer is not a lot. He's going to fall. Eco is going to fall as well, but so will Coupon. So that is going to be a 3-4 trade, plus the dragon, plus the damage in mid tower. It will regen, but still, big passage of play for K3.
But go for the mid tower now, when 3 people are dead. Jim should be rotating towards the mid lane if he possibly thinks he can get there in time. Maybe he doesn't think that's the case, so they're not going to be able to get too much further damage down on this tower, but if they can get that, then they can get the ward control in this upper jungle. They can get the top tower when they've gone back and healed up, or possibly just straight off the bat. I wouldn't expect them to do that. But really, really interesting stuff. Take Fun has to be careful though. Does Jarvan have his ult?
Well, this could be another dunk from Neptuno. Flash out from Takephone. Flag and drag doesn't land, and he does have to go back now because Libic was in close proximity. Neptuno, though, it's not just that he's doing a lot of damage, he also has that giant spelt spud, so he's also a bit tanky for this stage of the game.
Yeah, he's just right now doing exactly what a Jarvan mid wants to do. He's snowballed ahead, so he's always got one more item than the rest of the guys he's facing up against. And that means he's so difficult to deal with because he's a CC bot as well as all the rest of the things he can do. So Jarvan looking very strong right now. Got that giant spell. I'm curious as to whether he's going to go for more damage now, like a Black Cleaver, which he probably will need to itemize for eventually, or no, he's going to go for more defense.
So again, we're talking about the late game potentially being in favour of mousesports, but the way it's going, the pace it's going, it may not get to that stage. Nidalee 0-4, just as Zoni is Hourglass, so really not doing a great deal right now. That's forced away from Jarvan, top lane. Coupon Jerome going on it one-on-one. This is going to be Jerome actually potentially coming out on top now that Eco's made himself alive, and in this situation Coupon does take down that kill but will be answered back from Eco. However, that's kind of good news though from Mouse that in a 1v1 Jax is coming out ahead still.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a proactive attempt there from Irelia to set that gank up, but now they're ganking Elise with Morgana and Nidalee. I don't really see them killing that. Neither do they, apparently.
And this also puts them in a really precarious position because Neptuno can easily roam to top. He has mobility boots, so he is super fast, super mobile around the map. And yeah, that will force them backwards. Again though, they are being proactive, even when they're behind, and I do like that about Mouse.
Yeah, and take note of what Karont3 just did. They had a 3-man stack in the top lane. They knew their opponents had run away from that top lane. They had vision behind the enemy tower, and yet the tower is still standing. Jim's wasn't there, that's true, so they had a much harder time sieging it if that was necessary, but neither would Kuban have been able to respond, so I think probably should have gone for the tower there.
A lot of kills on top of Jarvan as well, so it does get to that stage where if they do manage to insta-kill Jarvan, there could be a lacking of damage. So we're just going to have to pay attention to that one. This top tower is not long for the world though, because, well, there's 3 players smashing that one down, including Jerome, who's got the Triforce and Pickaxe second item. But that is going to allow Mouse to try and push this mid tower, which interestingly enough has took absolutely no damage at all. And this duo lane is in very real threat of a Jarvan coming over. There's the Dark Binding though, won't be landing on Jerome. Black Shield did buy it back for a bit of time, however, not enough time because there goes Neptuno with the Cataclysm. Return play as well from Libic from the Soul Shackles, but it's not going to stop anything. 25 second Death Chamber for 2 players of Mouse.
But Karont3's main siege here is low on health. Do they want to risk it? I think, honestly, they possibly could, but this rotation to bottom lane is an equally good option for them, and it's a lot safer. Jerome taking an interesting route, but it doesn't really matter in the long term. He's still very tanky.
Yeah, he is Irelia. Has a lot of lifesteal as well, so he can easily get that one back, and they do pick up this tower. So they are getting the objectives now. This is a reformed, renewed Karont3 K3 side right now, and they're going to be recalling as well with quite a bit of gold, so coming back stronger than ever. Again, Nidalee's build is super bare bones spud. It's just not doing damage. At 22.5 minutes, Zoni's Hourglass is not good enough.
Yeah, they really abused how weak Mowers were early game. Konzizan picked a jungler that farms a lot. Got the Feral Flare now, got the Randuins now, looking very strong as a front line, yes. But they've lost so much ground for that, because mid lane there was nothing really to stop that camp, because Shyvana is much weaker in those situations. She's not good at ganking or counter-ganking. She literally just farms until the late game team fight. And if you get something like a Nidalee behind, it just does nothing for you.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear as well that I'm not blaming Takefan, it's just that he was super camped from the jungler, Akonata, and Neptuno got so far ahead. But just in terms of stating facts as I see them, Zoni's Hourglass is not going to be chunking through. It's not going to be doing the kind of damage that you'd expect Nidalee to be doing around this stage of the game. Typically a lot of Nidalees at this stage are going to have Athenes and Holy Grail and even the components potentially of Rabadon's Death Cap. But as you say, they're against the full AD side, barring Elise. So Zhonya's Hourglass still does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, she's also just trying to make sure she doesn't get bursted by Jarvan every time, but Karont3 are taking the dragon, and James is perfectly happy to play the bait right now, although he won't be happy with the end.
Oh, Shyvana takes the dragon this time. So third time a charm from Thundersand. That's going to give him a nice chunk of gold. And if they can turn this team fight back in their favour, they're going to be in good shape. However, godlike Jarvan, another javelin is missed. And now Takeman finds himself an Irelia who has a lot of damage. Stinger, Pickaxe, Triforce. Can they get the culling damage down onto Rydell though? Looks likely so far. Coupon, however, is chasing after Lulu, who actually survived with the wild growth, and now Macklin's going to go down. Coupon should be falling. He's strong, but he's not 1v4 strong, and he falls as well. So yes, he's got the dragon, but at the cost of 4 lives.
Yeah, it was worth it to steal the dragon. The problem was that then there was a fight, and actually Mouse had a good position for the fight, but they chased Lulu for a very long time, and she was able to keep herself alive completely, even though they had the split at their advantage. Karont3 now have the ones taking that fight away, and that's really, really nice stuff for them. They've now secured themselves a very sizable lead.
Interesting enough, 2 blasting ones for Take Fun. So wanting to stack up the ability power, going for Seraph's Embrace I'd assume next, because it does have 750 stacks on the tier of the bonus that will instantly upgrade. But again, other than the fact that they are lacking on damage, they're not exactly tanky either here, Spud. And so in every single possible way, they're not going to win these 5v fights right now as it stands.
No, there really isn't much they can do. And the other problem that Mouse have right now is that their lane clear, their wave clear is very poor. They've got Nidalee Spears, yes. They've got Shyvana E, yes. They've got the culling. But other than that, they really don't have much to come out to save themselves if they get sieged in. And Triforce from Ezreal is going to make him very, very difficult to deal with when he just walks in, pokes with 1 hit or 2, and then walks out again. Because, well, what do you do in that situation? You engage on him? No, you can't. Arcane Shift. He's got the flash. He can easily bait you into an engage if you do that. So the only real option for Mouse is to continue doing the only thing they have an advantage in, which is applying pressure with Jax. But I'm not even sure if he's ahead anymore in the one-on-one sense compared to Irelia. He would be stronger normally, but there's a big gold gap.
Yeah, and also the way that Karont3 have been playing, they wouldn't allow that 1v1 because they would quickly move into position where they helped Irelia out. They want to choke out the side of mousesports. They don't want to allow them any chances to get themselves back into this game. And I'm looking at chat, and a lot of people are putting down Take Fun. I understand that his stats don't look good, but what you need to remember, guys, is that Ekonata camped mid so crazily hard. He ganked, I think, 5 or 6 times, Spud, in quick succession. And when you're Nidalee before level 6 and have no flash, that just puts you in a horrific position.
It was a good plan from Karont3, though. They saw the Nidalee pick. They picked Jarvan against it, and they knew with the Conators, they'd have a decent magic damage threat from her, so not a completely full AD team, and she synergized very, very well with Jarvan, since he could initiate the gank, flag and drag knock up into the cocoon stun, then she could chase a Nidalee even if she flashed and get the finish off. Didn't actually work on the first attempt, but he just went round again because he knew no map pressure from Shyvana jungle, and that is why she has serious problems in the jungle. And even with how strong Feral Flare is, people are still not entirely sure if that's a good jungle pick.
Yeah, it's still going through the works right now for a lot of junglers trying to figure out, and that's typically what happens when an item gets changed or a new one is released. There is a 2 to 3 week period where people are trying to iron out the kinks in their build order and seeing if it works or not, and I feel that's kind of the situation we're at right now. Neptuno is lagging, apparently. That's the reason for the pause, the reason we've been on for the last 3 or so minutes. So fingers crossed he'll be back soon. But having a quick browse at the score, 15-4 looks very one-sided. Also, the goal difference is pretty significant, but 7-0 and 5 Jarvan is massive. That is monumental damage. He's also built Sunfire Cape, so he's tanky on top of it.
Yeah, and the main magic damage threat is Nidalee, who is really not looking good, and not even likely to focus down Jarvan in the first place. Nidalee in a team fight isn't going to do much. She's gonna throw spears, she's gonna throw some heals, yes, but not like it's not like itemizing no magic resist against a Karthus, where a guy that dives in is just going to get shredded. Nidalee probably won't do anything to him, so he can afford to build armor and damage, which cuts out some of those otherwise ancillary components, and that allows him to just build even more damage and snowball even harder.
And then even if Nidalee does start to land javelins, you got Lulu, who just has wild growth, help picks, can put the shields on, can give you a lot of effective health in a very short amount of time. So even in that respect, it's not looking good for Nidalee as well. It's starting to build some more ability power, but still, at 25 minutes through the game, is not chunking people as much as he'd want. Take Fun is not right now relevant in this game. Jax is to an extent, but he's not able to free up his arms and really go to work on these towers either. Because if he goes to top lane, for example, and tries to split push, you can bet your bottom dollar Karont3 are going to be like, cool, we'll just push mid lane, and we'll take your inhibs.
Yeah, you can see he's heading up there right now, and the only advantage you can get if Kuban pushes up there is that if they do push the mid lane, then they're probably going to have to go for a dive unless they can really accelerate their siege damage on the tower, because Kuban has teleport. If they go for that dive, it's going to be a 5-on-5 after a couple of seconds, and that's not entirely a safe proposition, even with a gold difference like this. It's a big enough gold difference that it might work, though, so it's a very serious threat that Mouse are going to have to take advantage of, or take a consideration of.
Yep, still not entirely sure how long we're going to be paused for here, guys. Apologies for this, completely out of our hands. It is Neptuno that is suffering with lag, so let's hope that these problems do get rectified fairly soon. I don't know really what else to talk about, Spud. I feel like we've covered the bases pretty well so far. Dragons are going to be up in the next 2 to 3 minutes, so that could be a place of potential team fights kicking off. But then again, would mousesports even want to try and team fight at this stage? Because if they lose 2 or 3 players, the likelihood is that an objective or a Baron is going to be picked up off the back of that fight.
Yeah, it would be an iffy proposition. They might be able to do it because Nidalee is starting to get a bit of damage, and she's good in those environments, but they'd have to be very, very cautious about how they played it. Make sure they didn't get pinned down, make sure they didn't get caught out, make sure they didn't get bursted down. All these options that can go very much against them. But they've got to make some kind of proactive moves moving out of their base, because otherwise that Baron is completely void of vision. Libic is actually heading there now to put a ward down, I suspect. But even so, it's just not a great situation all across the board. Overall, guys, I would say if you have enjoyed the stream, we've actually got the reconnect. But if you have enjoyed the stream, do feel free to follow the Challenger Face-Off channel here on Hitbox TV, who are the hosts of this little tournament we are running right now. We've got the reconnect letters, hoping it'll happen. The unpause, maybe one day.
Who knows at this point? I would hope so, and I'd hope that there isn't going to be some reoccurring lag issues, because it would be horrible if Neptuno started to kind of thin away just because he has like 200 ping or something crazy like that. But regardless, he's reconnected. They haven't unpaused, as you can see, so I'm not too sure what's going on. I'm trying to look on Skype and other places, because of course we do have a conversation with the team captains and all that kind of stuff, but no one's really giving us updates. There we go. We've been told they're ready and sorry, so we should be going very, very shortly.
Okie dokie. Well, when that happens, it'll be obvious on your screens. This does give me I get a good eye on exactly what the delay is between the stream and my own PC here. It's pretty good actually, Hitbox, on that front. It's like maybe 10-12 seconds between what's coming up on my screen, because I can see the timer on the pause as compared. But it does seem like at the moment we have got the unpause coming in. And now, what we said before, Karont3 pushing the mid lane hard, Jeron doing that, Take Fun heading up the top lane, not Take Fun, Kuban heading up the top lane, and he's going to try and apply some map pressure now. He needs to clear that big wave at the very least.
Yeah, he needs to start putting some presence down on the map, and What I would say is that when it comes to the more experienced side, it's definitely mousesports, so they could hope for a few lapses in concentration here and there. Karont3 have done it in the past 2 games, and in fact they've actually done it a couple of times in this game as well, so that could be what mousesports are going to try and turtle and wait for, is someone making that lapse in concentration, that judgment call that doesn't quite pay off, and they can then therefore get their second chance in this game. But Zephyr has been finished off on Irelia, which is obviously going to reduce some of those CC effects, give more attack speed and movement speed as well, plus the attack damage. Not good news for Mouse.
It's really funny though, because she's gone for a glass cannon build. She's got Berserker's Greaves, she's got, like, the only thing that's giving her any defense is the Phage component and the Doran's Blades. And yet, she still seems pretty tanky to me. She's got quite a bit of health, and that is the nature of base stats in League of Legends. People underestimate just how much of a difference isn't dependent on items or runes or masteries or anything like that. It's just literally, that character has more health because she has more health.
I feel like Karont3 could have been a bit more passive there and a bit more patient, because they were going for the bait, the trap, and they actually aggressed on Shyvana, who can easily just Dragon's Descent away. If they'd made Shyvana come around the corner a bit more, they'd have had further amounts of time to actually close on the collapse and get the kill, or potentially pick up someone like Nidalee. So maybe a tiny bit impatient there. And the trap didn't quite pay off. Yes, they get rid of Dragon's Descent, but it's going to be up fairly shortly anyway. And you can see that Nidalee is just not really doing any damage with the javelins.
It'll build up as time goes by. She's probably got enough gold. No, she does not in fact have enough gold for the Seraphs when she goes back. But that'll be a big spike in AP. Like, the difference between a Tear and a Blasting Wand and a finished Seraph's Embrace is probably in the region of like 150, 160 ability power. It's a huge gap. But still, she's not going to have the Void Staff, she's not going to have the Rabadons, she's still not going to hit anyone but the squishies for really significant amounts.
Exactly. So the front line still won't be taking huge amounts of damage, and I think that's one of my main concerns for the side of Mouse. And then again, just going back to the point I made earlier, you've got Lulu. So even if one of your squishies does take a javelin to the knee or whatever, there's a Wild Growth, there's Hell Picks, and they're going to be okay again. So Jax is doing this pretty well, I have to say, though. Kuborn is split pushing, he is forcing the lanes, and that is keeping Irelia busy. They both have teleport though, so if something happens like this, Irelia can come in from the backside and try and make some plays. Very opportunistic, but are they going to get the payoff for this one? Take Fun is caught out of position from Jims. He does, however, have Cougar form, but there comes Jerome. There comes the kill. Jax is going to teleport to the bot lane, preemptively deciding that the Baron is probably going to get picked up right now from K3, so he wants to pull it back for his team. Libic has been caught out, however, he will flash away.
It's really, really smart. He knows the only two outcomes of this are either we try and 4v5 the Baron and lose, or we 4 and 5 the Baron and they get the Baron and we retreat. So what he's done there is he's pulled Irelia away, which actually means it's harder to take the Baron safely. Unfortunately, Libic then just got gibbed.
The Baron's not going down as fast as they'd like. Are we going to see a potential steal? No. Konstan's not in position right now to stop this one. They did get 2 towers from that one though. Here comes the Dragon's Descent. Baron has been picked up as well, but you can see Kuborn and Matla, they are keen to try and push this bottom lane still.
Smart play. Again, Konstantin gonna get caught though.
He is, but look, it's the Darien syndrome. He's going to die, but he's buying up a bit of time for his AD carry in top lane. The problem now, though, is they're going to have to balance this with the threat of their own base, because right now it's basically Take Fun defending by himself.
Yeah, and I really don't see him being able to do anything about that. On that occasion, if Konstantin hadn't been caught, if he'd been able to escape, would have made sense for Lucian to have gone down to join with Kuban. Might have been able to catch out Irelia in that situation, and hence get some benefit from that. But as it happens, it's probably gone against them overall. They lost the inner tower in the top lane, they've lost the Baron, they only got the 1 tower down there, and now they're going to lose the Dragon as well.
Yep, the Dragon is falling very quickly. Seraph's Embrace has been finished from Nidalee, so there's going to be a bit more damage now. Triforce also finished on Jax. Again though, is it too little too late? They do have good scaling on their side. Lucian though, I don't want to say that Makla's been a non-factor in this game, but it's been difficult for him to stamp his authority in this one, Spud, because, you know, you just got Irelia who can jump on his face, and then he is, by and large, shut out of those team fights.
Yeah, indeed. It's just... It's a less clinical execution, I'd say, by Karont3 than Mouse was managing. But they've got the lead, they're capitalizing on it, and they're taking this game one little bit at a time. But right now, all Mouse can do is continue to do what they've already been doing. Try and get arm on their carries, try and keep the map pressure going in their favor. And Kubon's doing a lot of work in that regard. He is still stronger than Irelia in a one-on-one, I think. And that is why he's doing this solo pushing, but he has to join up with his team now. He knows that. But he may have created a slow push lane down now.
Well, Culling comes through, clears out that creep wave. But Neptuno now is getting even tankier. Hex Drinker, Spectre's Cowl is taking a bit of damage and actually will flash away there. So a small minor victory, I guess, for Mouse, but their middle tower has taken quite a bit of punishment. So take 2 now from Karont3. And this is the time when I feel like they are always on the edge of making a potential mistake. Ooh, the Javelin nearly catching the backside of Jims.
And if he goes low, Karont3 can't continue the siege. Essentially, Maos are now very reliant on poking Jims down enough. And that was a very important usage there. Mikhail, Crucible, and Summoner Heal. That's like 180-second cooldowns on both of them at best. So he's a lot less safe now. Maos need to be very, very careful about how they work this, but if they can get Jims poked down, the siege can't happen. There's no one else really to do much damage to it. And he's taking a lot of binding.
He's eating a lot of skill shots here. Nearly another Javelin, had to Arcane Shift out of that one. But as you say, if he gets poked down and he has to back away, then that's pretty much going to derail the pain train from K3. That being said, you've got the 2 top laners now at bot lane, and Jerome's doing a lot of damage. Mid lane now, here comes 2-shot barrage. Dragon's Descent is available from Ondersand, but does he want to use it? Culling is used late there, and the tower has already fallen. Jims is going to try and clean this one up. He eats a Javelin, but it's not going to be enough damage to force him back. And that is going to be a middle inhibitor falling in favour of K3.
And they've no reason to stop. They've got the Baron regen. Their opponents do not. They can continue to push this out and go for it.
Take fun. Flag and drag from Jarvan. As the Javelin lands onto Riddle though, so it's not terrible. Makla's taking damage. They will take down Jarvan though. That's a lot of the kills off the table. Eco's gonna fall as well. Irelia is still alive. And so is Jims on full HP. They need to be careful. They can't afford to overextend or this is going to go horribly wrong. I'm surprised that Mouse would fall for this one. I honestly felt they'd realised that was a fight they could not win. However, Kugon from the backside going to try and turn this one back around for his team. But Lulu is so good at CCing and peeling for AD carry. Keeps Ezreal alive at the cost of her own life.
Yeah, and now Kubon is actually left in an unfortunate situation where he has to juggle between the minions in this mid lane and keeping that bottom tower up. He's strong enough to fight the duo from Karont3, but he just has to keep the Nexus towers up. Can he hold this now?
He's going back in. The tower will fall though. Lots of attack speed courtesy of that Zephyr, Berserker Greaves, Triforce combination. And of course you're against an AD carry that can also speed you up with Essence Flux as well. So they do take down that tower. One inhibitor has fallen. And I agree with what you said before, Spud, where you're like, okay, yeah, Karont3, they're winning this game, but it's a lot less clinical than Mouse were.
Yeah. If they hadn't had this advantage, I have to say I'd still favour Mouse, but it was just such a good early game plan from Karont3. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. They were smart about how they played it. They got the ganks on the mid lane. They snowballed it. And from that advantage, they have hence been able to make these other moves now. If they then lose, and like even one team fight at this stage, though, Karont3 could put themselves into a situation where they're on much more equal terms. And I've got to say, I favour Mouse's late game. Just not necessarily their late game composition, but their late game play as compared.
Yeah, they are a force to be reckoned with, but the problem right now is there's so many threats on the cards as well from K3, Ezreal, Jarvan, even Elise is going to be doing damage, building more ability power now, and then on top of that you've got Irelia. So lots and lots of potential possibilities. Void Staff has been finished, by Nidalee, so those javelins are going to start to chunk a tiny bit more. But there's so many tanky items now on the side of K3, I'm not sure it really matters.
If this game dragged on, Mouse could build the armor. But yeah, Karont3 right now are just too far ahead. They've all got Last Whispers, or 3 of them do anyway, and they're just too scary right now. They're too strong to fight, and they're forcing fights. Mouse just don't have an answer to that. This inhib is the next potential answer. Maybe they could get something if Karont3 were foolish and went for this push with Irelia visible at the top lane. Maybe they could get the engage from that. Just about the only option I can see for them.
Well, they don't seem to have committed to it just yet. They would have a little while longer, but keep in mind that Irelia does have teleport available, so if they do all in engage, there's always that possible threat of Irelia just popping on in. So Jax is going to go and deal with Irelia at the top lane. Neptuno's taking absolutely no damage because of his shield. These have been popped down with Demacian standard, so again, it's looking grim. There's not too much more I can say. It's just looking very grim for mousesports. Top lane, Kubon and Jerom, I wouldn't even say it was a fight, it was just more of a love tap, really.
Yeah, they're trying though. Riddle has taken quite a bit of poke. There's no Baron regen now. Spears are starting to hurt. Can they hold the inhib itself? Jinx is not putting down a lot of damage on it. Take fun.
Oh,
careful.
Yep, careful the keyword. Culling comes through, not doing really anything there apart from clearing out the spiderlings. And yeah, the javelins are starting to do a bit more, but again, is it really going to turn the tides? Unless it hits on Jims a couple of times, I can't see how it's going to matter a great deal.
Yeah, and the thing about Irelia right now is that she's doing enough damage for an AD carry.
Yeah. Oh, that was significant. Did land on Jims this time around, and now they've all grouped up. This could potentially be the engage that they wanted. But Morgana doesn't have Talisman of Ascension, so they can't close the gap. Now turning it back on towards Takeon. There's a true shot barrage. Only really lands on Condescend. That's going to Nidalee falling. No to Irelia as you're talking about doing so much damage by herself. Soul Shackles comes through. It's going to catch on a couple players, but there's the Mikhail's Crucible on Jerom. Very smart play. Double kill. Will likely be triple. In fact, Ezreal takes that one down. And this is going to be the GG unless something miraculous happens. It's just Makler and Kubon remaining against 5 strong players. And they're going to push right towards these Nexus towers.
Yeah, and Riddle has stopped the recall from Makler as well, so that's not happening. It's the 4v1 show. Let's go!
Yeah, 4v1 show from Kubon. Fair enough, Lucian gets that kill, but it's not going to matter a great deal. There we go.
The show was rubbish. All my money back.
Got booed off the stage. Nexus towers have fallen. Nexus will follow, and that's going to be the 2-1. So 90% of you were incorrect. K3 is still in this best of 5.
Like I said, 100% of 90% estimations are wrong. I don't know why. It just seems that whenever the confidence factor gets above 90%, team performance drops off like a stone. I don't know exactly why, but that has been shown in the past to not necessarily be true of a rematch. This brings the series to 2-1.